one of our 2017 garden contest winners in Perkins, Oklahoma, and Peggy Wolfe. Congratulations!
Well, thank
the voters
you, Casey.
loved your photos and wanted to see more of it.
Oh, good.
So I'm excited to be here with you.
I'm excited to have you here. So this is great.
And let's go ahead and talk about your garden. Let's get into it. And so, what was the initial inspiration for establishing this?
This right in here was where the old house used to be. It was 120 years old, had some bags, sags, and so on, and so I tore it down. And when I did then, I looked for a landscaper. I knew it was too big for me to try to figure out. And so anyway, I wanted a landscaper, and I tried for 2 years, and weeds were growing up here. And so what we did was we had a weed party. The weeds were taller ahead, tied the bows on it, came out, and some friends of mine were from up there at OSU, and so they recommended John Stevens, who is a local landscaper here.
So he helps you a lot out here.
Yes, he did. But now I gave him a list, and I said, I want this, make sure you do this and this. And so the main thing I wanted was the drip system in the water, and also just mulch. Just I want this to be as easy as possible, and to get plants that would do well in Oklahoma.
Okay.
So those were my big criteria.
And you've got several of them. I mean,
yes, we do.
Lime grass and Gara behind us. We've got some really great plants that can handle the heat.
Yes, and if the drought hits, then you know it handles that better too. So,
right.
Yeah, and that was important.
So you've got a lot of color out here. Is that?
I like color.
You seem to be a colorful
I
personality.
like color. Yeah. And I was always one that would buy just one of everything, you know. And
you're a plant hoarder, like me.
I am a onesie girl, and but I needed something that had that real good structure to it, and he provided that. So John's a good guy.
Very nice. Well, I love the color you've added in with the pots.
Yeah.
You've got a nice mix of hardscape and plant material.
Well, that was on the list. I want a lot of stuff that I don't have to water or weed.
Okay.
So I've got a lot of,
other interesting things, which makes it also interesting in the winter time. You know, when some of the plants go more dormant. So.
It does, yeah.
Very nice. And I like the kind of the throwback to the original farmstead. You've got some windmills, and you have the original
stoop, the back stoop back there. And that was the original back patio back there as well. And then we just built the pergola around it and then filled in, and so it just kept getting bigger and bigger. So
well, very nice. It's a nice little memory to what was original here.
Yeah.
Well, let's go take a look at your vegetable garden.
Well, let's do that.
So, Peggy, your vegetable garden actually is a footprint of something too.
Of the old chicken house. The chicken house was built in the 1930s, and we tore it down. It had seen its better days. And so it has the frame around it.
Oh, yeah, you can see the foundation there.
Yeah, and so that is my definition of a raised garden. Anyway, and that's where I have it's just me, so just whatever I can eat out of there is what we have out of there.
And it's amazing how much you can produce.
It is, yeah.
This is a good sized garden though.
Yeah.
And I like that you use the cottonseed hulls as a mulch there.
I love cottonseed hulls. It puts a new meaning on picking cotton because you get a bunch of plants, but it really does hold that moisture in and so on. So, and then if I have flowers that come up in there, or these onions are about like 5 years old.
Oh.
I've just always kept them there, and I think, oh well, we'll just keep them there. And then but the hollyhocks came up, and I've got some lilies over there, and so I will put flowers in it. Ever since I saw the Amish do that in Pennsylvania, I thought I can do that.
There's nothing wrong with a few flowers in your vegetable garden.
Well, my dad always said in the flower garden, says, "You are going to plant some tomatoes, aren't you?" I said, "Oh yeah."
And you do have some tomatoes.
I do.
Garden. I love how every corner has a little bit something unique to find, a little discovery. You've got some whimsical things hidden in there, and also just really mixed in with some interesting plants. I like what you've done over here under the tree. So many people want to plant under a tree, but adding a lot of soil can kill the tree.
It can, yeah.
So with the whiskey barrels.
Yes, I like the whiskey barrels. It's just so rural. And anyway, it's just over there, and I just can see it anytime, and I like it.
Adds a lot of nice color.
It does,
there.
yeah. Yeah, it does.
And then you've got more of a flower garden back here.
And don't forget my, yes, that
The
desert willow. Yes, yeah.
It's a showstopper, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it wasn't before, but it got a little rain, and so then it decided to bloom. So yeah, it's good.
So let's talk about this garden a little bit. I mean, you've got kind of a mix of things in here.
I do. This is the hill. This is where the sheep the fence went through, and for I don't know how many years they had that, but the hill, it built up with that, and I've got grapes over there and squash, and yes, I did put some vegetables in there, didn't I? Yeah, but I put a lot of one things in here. There's kale.
And I like how you use that trellis on its side to kind of help hold some of those plants
Well,
back
John
there.
made that, and it has those little possum grapes on it, which we just love. So
very nice.
Yeah.
Rattlesnake master in there.
It is.
Some ice plant.
We have ice plant. Yes.
All right, well, let's go take a look at the fruit garden, shall
Let's
we?
do that.
You have an orchard over here.
I do. Yeah.
You have.
Well, you know what? With all of the mulch and again the drip system, it's not that much work. And but I started out with the 2 larger peach trees and then the apricot tree, and I told John I wanted, and could I have a cherry tree, and could I have some blackberries?
You needed a collection.
Yes,
right?
And so anyway, we've got just about one of everything, and then I have those morning glory trees in there that are just, and whenever they are in full bloom, they are just, they take it over. They are really
So you've
pretty.
added some flowers in your fruit garden and also a few vegetables.
Yeah.
Well, and we're right next to, again, a beautiful flower garden here. So you've got the nice showy flower right off of your drive.
Right.
And I love the cannas that you've got.
I do too. Those, I'm not sure what those are, but I just love those because they're so short.
Yeah.
The ones over by the pergola are so tall. And so, but anyway, they're pretty. And that's the first thing you see when you pull up.
And again, you love color. I can't help but notice your little succulent containers over there.
Yeah.
What are those?
Those are the posts that went to the house, and they were too tall, and they'd cut those off, and I said, I'll just put some cactus in those. And it's those little Bailey cactus, and they
very nice.
Yeah.
And you have quite a few little cactuses around and stuff added in.
Well, they don't take much water. So, they're usually pretty successful.
And I like what you said about, sparing no expense with water as far as using a good watering system.
And the mulch. Yeah, those
More
two.
so than even plants, really.
Absolutely. Get a smaller plant, or get fewer plants, but have those 2 things. Your life will just be easier, and it's prettier, and it's just better for the environment and all of that.
And the plants will reward you for that.
Oh, yes,
too.
they do, yeah.
Well, Peggy, thank you so much for sharing
Well,
this
yeah,
garden
I'm
with
glad
us.
I'm glad you came to my garden. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.